Hi, everybody, and welcome to today's edition of Fonte Show. I had to cancel my business, Ladies Let's Talk Business show today so that I can, get into this topic that is making rounds in Nigeria, especially. You know, the topic I'm talking about today, like I've told you guys before, is the trending news of the relationship between 18 years old Regina Daniels and 59 years old millionaire Ned Nwoko. Now, you guys know that I usually don't get into all these personal stories. I don't go into gossip. I don't go into all these people's personal life styles and stories like that. But you need to understand that the topic of child, protecting the girl child is a topic that is very important to me. Personally, very important to me. So, and in the past few weeks or so, I've seen um, I've seen so many people commenting on this relationship, so many people saying so many things, and I've tried my best to follow some of these commentaries on this relationship, and it's been so sad. It's quite sad for me. Hi, Mr. Hanacho, welcome to the show, and you're an advocate for humanity, and I'm sure that you will be interested in this topic. But let me keep on going, and probably at one point you might want to come in and chip in some things. This particular relationship and topic touched me so much for the past week or so. I've been thinking about it. I've been reading about this girl. I've been reading about the whole situation and seeing what is happening. And I've had several Nigerian women, so-called feminists and society women, elite women, talking about this lady. And there's not been anywhere where I've seen anyone blaming this 59-year-old so-called billionaire who is probably, I think, a former senator and somebody with influence in a country such as Nigeria. I've not seen anyone blame this man or hold him to account. Everybody is blaming this little girl, 18 years old, who found fame at the age of as young as 6 years old. And even some people are going as far as also blaming the mother. Now, this topic today, I'm not here to blame anyone, but I am here to address a particular issue that continue to happen in our society, Nigerian society. Growing up in Nigeria, I know how rough it is and how easy it is for a child to be groomed and exploited and then left for the society to condemn. So many people's lives, young girls' life, have been, destroyed way before they even know what being adult is. And on and on and on and on, we keep on heaping blames on people. Now, let us x-ray this issue. One, Ned Nwoko is a senator. We know what it means to be a senator of Nigeria. He is a powerful man. He has money. He has connections. He is 59 years old, for goodness sake. And Regina Daniels is only an actress. And as far as I know, from a single mother. I don't know. I don't want to go into the details of their personal family lives and all that. Let me focus on my interest now. But I want to bring out the vulnerabilities that face this little girl. If anything, Does Nigeria society owe this little girl? Whether you call her a celebrity, whether you call her a star, whether you call her anything. Okay, he was a member of House of Representatives. Thank you so much, Princess Ihanacho, for giving me that important information. Yes, we know even the house, somebody being in the House of Rep is a very powerful man in the society of Nigeria, where accountability is always lacking. And it is through education of you and I, the Nigeria society. In fact, today when I posted about this topic, somebody was challenging me and saying, things about that is a mutual relationship, this and that and that, and I'm not going to go into that. But what I want to do today is open your eyes to what it means to groom somebody. Now, when people think grooming is only for maybe children or something, a whole family could be groomed, a parent could be groomed, a mother or a father, an auntie, an aunt, the adult in charge of a child could also be groomed. An entire society could be groomed. So it's very important that we understand what it is that is going on. Now, I'm not going to make up your mind for you, but after discussing what it means to groom a child and to exploit a child or exploit a person, then you begin to think for yourself and begin to question some of these things, and we should stop hiding all these things behind the facade of tradition. Because it is not. Our children, our girls, our young people keep on being, exploited and used and damaged and left. And then we wonder why the society is the way it is, because the adults who have probably gone through such, situations do not speak up. And they refuse to see when these things are happening. They refuse to come up to rescue our young people and give them, opportunity to heal, opportunity for us to begin to heal our society. Oftentimes, we see all the time, we see everybody, going after women and calling them several names, forgetting that most of these ladies, most of these women that we bash are or have been groomed long time ago as children, way before they even understood who they are, way before they even understand themselves. They have been long groomed, and what we see, when they become maybe young adults and all that, what we see is a manifestation of what damage that has been done in their lives. Now, let us start from, I'm using definitions and description, explanation, statistics, and everything from NSPCC. Is a children's charity in UK who take it upon themselves to safeguard children. So I'm going to be using statistics and descriptions from them so that you can understand where I'm coming from. Okay, Prince Hannah, I will get you to come in. Just give me a few minutes so that I can bring out the definition of grooming in the first place. Let people understand what it means so that they can think for themselves. Now, what is grooming? According to NSPCC, it says grooming is when someone builds an emotional connection with a child or their target or their victim. But in this case, let's focus on a child. When somebody builds an emotional connection with a child to gain their trust for the purposes of sexual abuse, sexual exploitation, or even trafficking, we should not take these things so lightly. This is very, very important, because in this day and age, we cannot continue to allow our young people to be damaged way before they become adults, and the society continue to damage on and on and on. What happens again is also I'm being disturbed, is that, look, when these things happen in a vicious cycle, most times people who have been abused as children, they continue into adulthood behaving the same way their abusers and groomers did to them. And this grooming could be face to face. It could be online. In fact, in a place like Nigeria, it's going to be face to face, especially when it involves a child. That is why parents, you really need to pay very close attention to your children. And these groomers, these abusers are usually family members. They are not always strangers. They're usually family members. They're usually very familiar people. People you trust. People who are very close to these children or who are close to the family. Somebody who is close to you, who knows your vulnerabilities, who knows the buttons to press. And they use several strategies to do this grooming. They use several strategies, including intimidation, including buying gifts, including paying attention to the child, including doing so many things. So this, grooming, let me give you an example. I remember when I was about 8 years or so, around that, either about between 6 and 8 years, there was a man that usually comes to our house. Then we were in my maternal home. That usually comes to. He's a policeman. He was a policeman because there is still a police barracks near my maternal home. So, and my granddad was the landlord of the barracks. So they usually come to my maternal home. So there was this particular man. I still remember his name. We call him the robot. He was a policeman. I don't know anything about him now. So that time, this man will come to the house in front of everybody and be calling me his wife. As young as I was, this man could be around 35, 36, or even more at that time. And this used to pain me, and people would be laughing. People would be laughing. They were making it like a joke, and he wants to, try to be playing with me and all that. And thankfully, from a very young age, I have been always very sensitive. I'm a very, very sensitive person. So when this man will come and call me his wife at that time, I'll be so ashamed because, even at that age, I knew that this kind of person is not somebody I want to marry. So one day when he came and he started, as usual, calling me his wife and trying to play with me, I carried a bucket of sand and poured on him. And that was the end of it. After that time, he never approached me again. So why am I saying this thing? Groomers, abusers, they do it right in front of the parents. In fact, they gain the trust of the parents, of the family members. And it becomes very easy for the child to fall prey into their hands. And they groom this child. And this child grows up either with guilt, either with shame, either with feeling damaged, completely damaged. And then what is the result? The manifestation we see is when you see young ladies, these days they call them slave queens and all that, or in universities and all, you see some vulnerable young girls being picked up by big old men. And people continue to blame these girls. So it's very, very important that as a society, we begin to have empathy and begin to look deeper into things than just mere, fun or talking about people or looking. Let us see people's, vulnerability. Let us see people's issues. Let us see victims and see how they can be helped. Let us not compound problems of people. Now, tell me, this particular girl, this Regina Daniels, is only 18 years. Tell me, at what age have you asked yourself, was it immediately she turned 18 that she came into contact with this man? Hell no. It cannot be possible. She might have been in a relationship with this man since she was 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And you think that this man will just come into her life at 18 and say, yeah, I want to marry you. This man has been abusing this girl. Most likely. Even may have groomed the mother. Listen, this Regina has been in the Nollywood industry since she was 6 years old. And I watched one of her videos where she was claiming that she's an adult, she knows what she's doing. No, she doesn't know what she's doing at 18. This girl has been exposed to so many things at a very young age. She's helpless. She doesn't know what she's doing. Tell me which 18-year-old girl in this day and age will submit herself to such traditional oath and all that they are doing to her. So we as a society need to begin to feel sorry for victims of sexual exploitation. Now, this girl, in her own words, she said that she has been an adult right from when she was born. You can see what she's been through. She has been a breadwinner right from 6 years, 7 years old. You can see poverty. You can see a family that is desperate. She said in her own words that she has always wanted to be loved. She wants to be known. She wants to be loved. She wants the whole people to love her. How can everybody love you? That's not possible. That is a cry for help. I want to bring in Princess Ihanacho if he's still there. Probably you have one or two things to say. Or anyone that wants to say something, just let me know. Give me, leave a comment, leave something, let us talk about these issues, because it's very, very painful for me to see so-called Nigeria women, feminist celebrities coming out and blaming this girl and, putting this girl under much more fire. Even in the Western world here, we see these things all the time. Doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it right. Okay. I saw that, and then I want to come in, and I saw that I think Victor wants to come in. Let me speak with let's Prince Hanacha talk, so that I hope I've added you. So this is very, very important. Yeah, Prince Hanacha, you see, I'm talking about. Welcome to the Fonte show, because in fact I'm very, very passionate with this topic. Is kind of a pen. I have 3 daughters. I was a young girl, and I've walked and I grew up in Nigeria, so I know what I'm talking about. I know the pressure that young girls in particular go through, how sexually women are abused and destroyed. Now, and I'm looking at this girl, 18 years old, being married to a powerful politician in Nigeria, a billionaire or millionaire, whatever they claim, I don't know. Now, being married to a 59-year-old, almost 60-year-old, and the society are ganging against a very young girl who, to me, I believe, is being exploited and has been destroyed. Now, what do you have? Tell us, say something, please.
Yeah, obviously, thank you for coming on to discuss this particular issue. My spirit only craves that people can open up themselves to listening to what you have to say and being part of what is going on, because we can't correct the ills of society without touching on these vital issues. For me, I really don't think that you've come out here to speak specifically about this particular lady and
Not at all.
Ned.
I'm using her.
Yeah, I'm
Yes,
coming.
I'm
Yeah, I'm coming.
sorry. I'm
But
using
you are
this
using
situation as a
her.
question.
Yeah. I'm quite sure this is what you're doing, and I can see it, and that's why I'm trying to re-echo it. I think you're using this as sort of an enabler, so people can see deeper into what is going on in society. I can see that through you, but many will struggle to see it. Obviously, I'm sure this is not actually the primary issue. You're looking at it wider so people can see bigger what is going on and how a society has decayed. First of all, as an advocate for humanity, I must say to you that for me, there is nothing called Nigeria. I call it anything goes. And when you are dealing with anything goes, anything has to go. Now, based on that, I want to re-echo what you're trying to portray, which is the fact that families have decayed so much, nobody is paying attention to what is happening to these girls in young age. That is a big point you want to show out here. Two, you are trying to show what is going on in society in terms of pedophilia and how children are being, especially young girls, they are being groomed from very young age. I'm quite sure you are aware that our folks in the north still marry little girls age 9, age 12. So we are dealing with an epidemic now, and it's good that you are pointing at these things. Why it is pertinent to me as an advocate of humanity is that I know what happens to the psychology of children when you damage them psychologically from a very young age. You create one of two things. Either you create an individual who is going to go and replicate the same thing on her own children, or they become extremely protective of their children to a level where they damage those children as well. So once you damage a child, a young girl, yeah, you are now through her going to build a generation of damaged children if you're not careful, because they would either go and replicate that in their children, the same thing that happened to them, and believe that is a way to go, okay? Or they will become extremely overprotective that they may end up damaging their children when they are younger, because in everything you're looking for moderation. You're looking to not plant seeds that you're not supposed to plant in your young girls when they are too small, because children can only take too much. In fact, in one of the work I'm doing now, I began to find that the reasons why children are even committing suicide now in this day and age is because a lot of our children are now being brought up as adults. So
sorry,
from
Nena, very soon. Very soon, Nena, I'll bring you in so that I can get your voice. One as a mother and somebody who has brought up teenagers as well. So please don't go away. Very soon, I'll bring you in, Nena. Please go ahead, please, Prince.
Right. So like I was saying, I found that because of the way we are dealing with children these days, they are beginning to experience things they're not supposed to be experiencing as children. They are now living the lives of adults. And I found that when you expose children to a life of adults, they begin to commit adult crimes. They begin to do things adults do, even taking their own lives. So I want to thank you, first of all, for bringing this issue up, trying to get people to understand what grooming is all about, and trying to get society to wake up to the fact that we need to pay more attention to these young girls. In fact, the fact that this girl now,
and not only girls, young boys, excuse me, young boys who go into what they call now yahoo, who go into scamming, who go into carrying drugs. All this, most of these young people all are being groomed into committing crimes.
The reason I'm joining you and I want to fixate it and point it to young girls primarily is because I can assure you, mothers are the first in line to input whatever we call discipline in both boys and girls. Forget about what anybody will tell you. So, and we want to home in on girls here, because if we get our girls right, we create good mothers. And when you have good mothers, both boys and girls benefit enormously. Whether we like it or not, that is just a fact. I'm not saying that fathers are not important. Fathers are very important, but getting girls...
Well, 1 second. There's a submission here. Let's read it out. From Victor Nwoko. Victor says, I see your point. Truth is, on a level playing field where Regina and Ned, we are not coming from two rather opposing ends of the social spectrum, and in a society such as ours in Nigeria, it would have been totally rare for a teenager to get married to a 59-year-old. There is an obvious moral imbalance in the structure of that marriage, especially as the man, Ned, had been close to her family. See what I mean? From her childhood days. In my candid opinion, Ned has exploited Regina's ignorance and unguarded exposure to influences that may have confused her. And I would beg to, I agree with you, but in a way, somewhere that Ned himself groomed her. and he's the one who exposed her. So let's continue. He says Ned ought to be a big uncle, and obvious big ought to be a big uncle and not a husband to that young lady. I sympathize with her obvious ignorance and pray that she can rescue herself when she regains consciousness. This is very apt for me. You know, Victor, you've said it all. I'll bring you in very soon as well, because you're also somebody in the entertainment industry, and you know how easy it is for, you know, for somebody, a girl who probably is from a poor family and who wants to become famous, or who is talented in acting, or parents want them to become actors and all that, how easy it is for them to fall into the wrong hands. So Prince Ihanacho, in the next 1 minute, please conclude so I can get someone else in.
Right, my conclusion, I mean, it's great that Victor chipped in what he chipped in. In fact, what I never knew is the period when I didn't know much about Ned's particular relationship when he started with this young girl and her family. I didn't know that. I'm just seeing it right now, and I'm hoping that what is deposited here is the fact. If it is this fact, then obviously that's an abuse of power, abuse of everything authority. You know, because Ned is supposed to be an uncle who looked after this child actually, but without still making them the primary issue here, because there are over 1 million Neds across that geographical location I call anything goes. There are over 1 million of them. And there are lots of them going on today. In fact, why this is made prominent is because one is linked to Nollywood, the other one is a politician who is a billionaire. There are many, many going on that we don't even hear about. All we want to say here today is for people to begin to appreciate that the decay we see in societies such as this place I call anything goes, the anything goes, the decay are byproducts of malfunctioning family and social system that is not taking care of their young ones, especially their young girls. Okay, lots of politicians are abusing these young girls in droves, and I'm just glad that you were able to raise this awareness, and I hope people can begin to take it seriously. I don't think I have further to add, and I hope that others can come and chip in now. Well done for what you're doing.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prince. Please stay, you know, stay put, because you might still have to, yes, you might still have to come in. Nana, before I bring you in, let me just quickly say this, you know, because there are some things that were raised from what Victor had, you know, deposited there. Thank you, Professor. You know, I'll get to you to really give you a better you know, congratulatory birthday message. And Diana Benskin said, legalization needs to be embedded in the law to forbid this archaic custom, that is sanctioned pedophilia. Now, thank you so much. This is very correct, Diana. But the first thing we need to understand is, without awareness, without knowledge, without people knowing what it means to groom a child. Listen, there are sometimes I hear stories of, you know, maybe a girl, a house help of about 10 years, 12 years, 13 years, who is being sexually abused by the uncle or the auntie's husband. This girl will open her mouth and tell the so-called auntie, and the so-called auntie will turn on this helpless, you know, house help. And you know, you will hear things like, you want to snatch my husband. Nigerian women, we need to wake up. A child cannot snatch your husband. Face your husbands and let us begin to correct the problems, these issues that have been, that have been perpetrated across board in the society. If you go to work, if you go to offices in Nigeria, you see bosses, male managers, directors, you know, putting their pressure on young girls, young graduates. They make it so that girls, women, use their body as a bargain chip for their career they've read so much for in school. The same qualification you have with your fellow, you know, your counterpart males. You will have to use your body to as a bargaining chip for you to have employment, or for you to remain in employment, or for you to gain promotions. These are, in the last 2 3 years now, there's been this Me Too campaign going on, but so many people are so scared to talk. But this is a time when we need to stand up for our children. And then I have to get you in for you to say something, but give me just 1 more minute, because I want to give people more information on grooming, because we seem as a society don't still understand what it means and how this grooming occurs. Now, it says that, one, these people, they begin to give the child attention. They use their professional position or reputation to gain their victims trust. They take them on trips, outings. They give them, give them gifts and things like that. They buy them expensive things. They use secret and intimidation to control their victims. They use blackmails. For example, some adults, they'll come to your home. You can picture these things, because so many of us who grew up in Nigeria will understand what I'm talking about. You see some adults who come to your house, they become so familiar with your parents. This time, their parents, unsuspectingly, may have been also groomed. Now, you see them turn against one of your children. They're always exaggerating or highlighting any mistake your child makes. You have to pay very close attention, especially when he's a man, an older relative man, or uncle, or visitor, or friend, or whoever. Now, picks on one of your daughters or something, and is always highlighting any little mistakes that child makes. You really need to pay attention to that man, because he is trying to intimidate this child, knowing, telling this girl that, see, your dad, your mom believes whatever I tell them, because he knows that he has them here. And oftentimes, these people disguise themselves. They will come in as, they make your children become familiar, tell them they're their uncle. They tell them that, or they will come in a way that they are supporting a family. They give your family money, they provide for you, they pay your school fees, they make you feel safe to be with them. So these are some ways that they manipulate the minds of both the adults and the children. So grooming is real. Nena, please come in. Nena, I believe you are there and you have something to say. Now, this is how grooming happens. For if for any reason you haven't really, yeah. No, welcome to the show. You are a mom, you know, and we went to school together, and you grew up in Nigeria. You are a graduate in Nigeria, and you have seen your own children go through that childhood, and they're becoming, gone through both teenage and all that, and now you are in Europe and all that. So you've had different experiences. Please say something.
Hmm. Thank you for having me on the show. Really, this is a surprise. And what can I say? Really, ever since this whole thing has been going on online, I've refused to pay attention to it or to even read in depth to really understand what is happening, because I feel so sorry for the girl in question. Okay. And it relates to me, kind of personally, not just because I have a teenage daughter now, who is turning 19 very soon, but also because I got married at 19, going to 20. Okay. So I would say yes. I was even kind of a year older than her, but I would say I got married early, and I'm fine now. Okay. I mean, we're going into 20 years of marriage this year. We're still very much together, very happy together. But I must tell you, the journey wasn't easy. As a girl of 18 or 19 or even 20 doesn't really understand what marriage is all about. And that is the truth. You just have this idea and you get into it, and then the reality hits on you. So as far as I'm concerned, the lady in question, the Regina lady, or whosoever, because the sad thing is, some of the comments, that you see when they report these cases, is a lot of young girls saying it's a good thing, they want to be in her situation and all of that. And that is bad. Okay. So whosoever at that age is thinking of getting into marriage, believe me, it is not the best. And I've told my children, I've told my first daughter, you will not get married until you're 24. Because you need to understand what it is. You need at this age, you don't even know what you want.
But I want to, can I come in here and then see,
yes.
One thing is this. One thing I disagree with all the time is putting number of age to maturity. Every human being matures at a different time, differently. But what we're saying now is, let us focus on somebody who is just 18. That means he just came from being 17. And I myself, I don't believe that this relationship started when this girl turned 18. I don't want to believe that. Even if it is, that is their business. But the point here is the grooming part of it. So many people, so many parents, so many mothers don't even understand what grooming is, and they don't know that it is real. Yeah. Carry on.
Yes. All right. So, talking about the people in question, why I say I feel sorry for her is I see her as someone who's just gone into a prison, and give her a year or two, she's going to realize what it is. And it is bad because I don't know, but I see the man as, of course, taking advantage of her, do I say ignorance? Or,
naivety.
Exactly. She's so naive in this whole thing. She doesn't understand what marriage is all about. So her life is just about, okay, the good things and take care of you. And like you rightly pointed out, the grooming aspect, this person must have been doing something, making her feel, I love you, I'm your big uncle. You're trying to take a hold of her emotionally, probably physically, and all of that from the beginning. And that is what we as parents should watch out. And for the young girls out there, considering going into marriage, and if you were even to be somebody of the same age, it's okay. These are children, probably it was a mistake, or they're being carried away and they will learn together. But when it's with someone who the difference in age is this much, what are they going to discuss?
Victor, sorry, 1 second. Victor, I'm going to get you in immediately after Ne. Just hang on, please. Don't go. Continue, please.
All right, so I'm just going to round up this. But it's what would they, when they sit together to talk, what would they discuss? They can't even be friends. And for you to be in marriage, you have to be friends with your partner for it to work. So I don't know how it's going to be.
And sadly, she is going to be sixth wife. Sixth wife. Look at how shameful our society is. And people are drumming and blaming this guy. And what they're seeing is money. They're not seeing a life being damaged.
And people, I had a talk about it once, and somebody said this has been happening. Why is this Regina on out? Because the truth is, you expect that this one is already enlightened, and she has seen life, and of course she can be able to choose or to know. And with the mom also, I'm not going to judge anyone. I don't know where they're coming from, but for me, no matter what, for my child, I will never encourage this. And well, honestly, I don't want to go deeper into it, but that is, it's a no for me. My child, I wouldn't want my child to get into such a thing, and I do not think this is right. And for the people in our society, for the men, really, we need to stop this. And for the mothers, we need to watch it. Watch when someone is trying to control your child from maybe even a young age. There are signs, there are always signs. And be a friend to your child and always talk to them and let them understand what is important, because it's not about money, really. Thank you, Fosti.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ned. Thanks for being on the show. So you had it all, but one thing I want to pick from what Ne has said is this: parents pay attention, but then which parents understand? Who knows? Who's aware? So many people are not aware of the tricks. So many people are still not exposed enough. Going to school does not give knowledge. It's paying attention in the environment you are, trying to learn. I have a submission here from Chinyere Okechukwu George. She says, whichever way we look at these things, I still put the blame on parents. I watched one of Regina Daniels' interviews on where she accorded much credit to her mom for playing a huge role in her life. From all indication, Rita, Regina's mom, has groomed her this way, and everything she's doing today and whatever value she places on anything has been inspired by her mom. As a mother, I won't stay put and watch my child become exploited and abused, no matter what pressure I experience. For me, I would say it's a shame what extent money goes in blindfolding people, even those you think should be enlightened or exposed enough. Now, this is where, because I don't want to blame anybody in this particular case, mine here is to raise awareness. Because there are so many people who you think are in control. So many times, everybody, including myself, could be groomed in so many different things. You could be as adults they say, brainwashed. Anybody could be brainwashed. Now, I don't want to pin this on Regina Daniels' mom, because I don't know the life she lived. I don't know how she grew up. I don't know her childhood. I don't know her situation. I don't know how she, how she came about having Regina as her daughter. So I don't know any of that. So I don't even know if herself was groomed. She probably was. Now, I'm bringing in Victor. Victor, I believe you have something to say. So it's very important that we pay attention to understand what grooming is. Sometimes these people come in disguise of, oh, they're trying to correct your children. They're trying to teach your children. They're trying to do, before you know it, it's gone too far. Hi, Victor. Nice to see you on Fonte Show. You are a don in the entertainment industry. You've been there, so you know most of these things. You are a guy. Talk to us.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Fonte, for having me on this very wonderful show. I would like to really re-echo your point on grooming. Grooming, to me, is everything. And grooming here, coming from the standpoint of parents to start with, and then from parents to perhaps teachers or to people who control your environment, they should understand first and foremost what the environment has in stock for you, the influences you're likely to encounter, and then be able to
Mm-hmm.
guide you through the responses you should have in case such things come your way. Let me give us an example.
And
I
sorry,
can
and that
recall
is
the
why,
title.
sorry to cut you. And that is why these adults, we need to raise this awareness. They need to be educated, because most people, like I said earlier, if you remember, if you were in the when I started, I said, like, when I was about 8, 10 years, or not, 6, 8 years,
Yeah,
a particular
yeah,
policeman used to come to the compound, and
yeah,
everybody would be there, and he'd be calling me his wife. These
yeah,
people, they allowed it at that time for him to be, and they were looking at it as a joke. That
yeah,
is not a joke. That
yeah.
was grooming. If he didn't stop, anything could have happened. So it's important
Absolutely.
that adults are, giving more information. There are a lot of more awareness out there, so that people are armed with information and be able to,
Yes,
point out or identify when grooming is happening around them. Continue.
yes. Yeah. So just like you said, I watched a movie long ago by popular American actor Schwarzenegger, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I can't recall the title of that movie now, but he in that movie he was employed to guard a school where children were regularly, I think, either stolen, abducted, or kidnapped or something. And he went to that school.
Oh no, we've lost Victor. Oh dear, Victor. Oh sorry, he's back. Okay, I've lost Victor. If you want to come on, no, so that I think Victor is back. Yes, Victor is back. So Victor, what carry on, please. So it's very important that we educate our
Okay,
parents as adults. Victor, please
fine.
carry on back.
All right. So when he got there, he taught those students one fundamental lesson. He said, no matter what happens, do not talk to strangers. If a stranger comes your way to ask you this question or that question, try to look at him. If he's not someone you know, do not respond. You run back immediately and tell me that stranger asked you a question. Every time he reminded the students, he kept reminding them until finally, when the person who actually came to strike at the school came, of course, he had to ask a question. He carefully and playfully approached one of the kids, trying to be very friendly, and then asked a question. And immediately it got to the consciousness of that pupil, and he recognized the fact that he shouldn't talk to strangers. Right there and then, he ran away, ran back, and then reported to the guard. That was what saved the situation in that school that day. That's about grooming. So now we are talking about cases of
One second,
pedophile.
1 second, Victor. 1 second, Victor. Somebody called
Yeah.
Patrick H or something says that is not always true. That a man that jocularly called you his wife is grooming you. Patrick, I don't know your level of exposure. Tell me why a man of 30 years, 35, will be calling a 6-year-old girl his wife. The sole aim is to get familiar with this girl, make it a joke, everybody laugh at it. What does a wife do with a husband? So why would a man of that age be calling a small baby girl his wife, introducing her, a baby, a child, to the idea of wife and marriage? So that is grooming if you don't know it. So if you don't know what grooming is, I bet you and I beg you to please stay put and learn. And after this episode, you can send me a message and I'll send you more literature on what is grooming. Because it's become a norm in our society in Nigeria, does not make it right. So you as a man, I don't know your age, I don't know if you're married, I don't know your marital status. This is an opportunity for you to learn now so that you can protect your future or already children. So Victor, please carry on.
Yes, so like I was saying, that was a classic example of what grooming can do to the mind of a very young person. Get him or her aware on time about what to expect, how to expect it, how it might come, so that when it comes, he or she would be ready to give the right response, and he or she would not be afraid to report to the appropriate authorities, whether it is mom or dad or authorities around him. And when the person begins to grow with that discipline, an age will come, especially a young girl who could be vulnerable to all kinds of approaches by men that have influences, that have money, that they know you're a young girl, you need money. But if your mom taught you right on time that, look, when a man begins to advance unnecessarily with gifts, with all kinds of influences, just know he has something in mind.
That reminds me, I need to give my brother, my immediate elder brother, Sonny, I need to give him credit. He landed in Lagos to work. At that time, I was 2021. The very first thing Sonny told me is, Sonny said, my dear sister, there is no free lunch anywhere in the world. No free lunch. You don't go to any Mr. Biggs. You don't go to anybody waiting for anybody to buy you chicken or what I'm paying you. You are going to pay somehow. So if you don't want to pay back something you don't know about, then don't take any free gift from anybody. That kept me straight throughout my stay in Lagos. So, thank you so much, Victor. Please conclude so I can bring in someone else.
All right. So much as our emphasis is not on the persons of Regina and Ned, they have become symbols for for this discourse. And my final take would be this: that if you are a parent, you're a teacher, you're a guardian, and you really would like to groom your children or your ward to be responsible, teach them the limits on time. Tell your girl that when a guy comes to tell her that he likes her, he loves her, he is after something. Teach her the right response. Teach her the right response on time so she wouldn't fall victim. At least she'll be friendly enough to let you know what is going on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Victor. Thank you. That's an excellent. Yeah, thanks. So we've had, and Mr. Patrick is still telling me that that he says he has international exposure. Now, something being a norm in the environment you grew up does not make it right. I'm telling you now, some of those girls that people like you come on Facebook and social media to bash on and call harlots and call these things are children who were damaged by people with the same mindset like yourself. And I'm not taking this lightly, because you cannot come on this platform and be telling me that a man of 30 years, 36 years old, calling a girl of 6 years or 8 years or even 10 years or even 13 years his wife is not grooming. Then, in fact, I will need to kick you out from this discussion, because that is not the energy I want here. Now, and thank you, Mr. Hanacho, for attacking that. Tackling this, what that man is talking about. You said an adult male should not jokingly or otherwise call a girl his wife. It is grooming, simple. If it's a little boy saying that to a little girl, then it's different. Thank you so much. And Prince Hannah, you also said that an adult male, okay, just completed what you said. I call many children my wives in different environments I lived in, but I never had ulterior motives. The potential child molesters have other subtle methods. You are painting every well-intentioned. Listen, Mr. Patty, I need to block you now. I need to remove you. See, you cannot tell me that as an adult, you're calling children your wives with no ulterior motive. I don't know whatever. There are so many things you could call children. Why calling a child? You are damaging children all over the place. And people need to take note of who you are. Because you cannot tell me as an adult, you know what a wife is. How could you go around calling other children your wife, your wives? You need to watch it. If you don't know what you're doing, then now you have to learn now and know that what you are doing is wrong. You are destroying young lives. You are grooming those kids. You don't call an adult, you don't have any right to call a child your wife. There are so many, they have names. You can make their names, pet names, or call them your niece or whatever, if they're depending on what relationship they are to you. Any grown man who calls any of my children his wife is in big trouble with me. So you take note, and if you want to continue in that way, I hope people take note of people like you. Exactly. Prince Hannah, thank you again. You said no adult male calls a little girl his wife without fancying her. You see, that Mr. Patrick, whoever, is still talking, but that he's exposing his ignorance. I hope that people take note of him. Now, you remember the story of Bianca Ojukwu. We remember how that father's bosom, how Ojukwu, who was a bosom friend to Bianca's dad, use the relationship, the family relationship, to groom Bianca. And when the marriage came, we all know how that relationship ended, because Bianca's dad never knew what was going on. He didn't know that while Ojukwu was coming to his house, Ojukwu was grooming his daughter. And the man never sanctioned that marriage. So parents, adults, you need to open your eyes, open your nose, open every part of you, your sensitivity, and watch people like this Patrick Echi, who is telling me that a 36-year-old man will be calling a 6-year-old child his wife with no ulterior motive. That is not true. If you're going about doing that, people need to be aware of that and watch you closely. Now, Princess okay, say keep him on. He has conscience. Hopefully, he would be honest to himself in his private time. Yes, that's why I left him too. Then Chinyere Okechukwu, you said proper value orientation is very paramount in our families and the society. A very good point. That is why, in this particular Regina Daniel case, I don't want to blame the mother because I don't know her background. I don't know whether she's also a victim. So just like we said that parents are the primary carers and responsible for their children, we also need to know that parents also can be groomed if they are not well, grounded in knowledge. And you said if we fail to inculcate the proper and ideal value orientation in our children, if families don't place priorities right and influence, don't place priorities right and attach importance to what matters most for the girl child and not just marriage, money and influence, if we don't rid them of so much love and attachment to materialism and total dependence on freebies, flamboyancy, and lack of self-empowerment, we will end up producing more liabilities and less assets. As a result, we will be seeing more decadence than healthy growth. Thank you so much. That is apt. So that is why I'm raising this awareness. So many people don't know, because if you see somebody in this particular case, you can see the man is still, airing his ignorance and making people to see how dangerous he is. I mean, the Patrick Echi, who says now that the repository of knowledge, I salute you. Bianca was at the age of discretion when Ojukwu married her. So you can see the level of danger this Patrick Echi is. So there are so many Patrick Echi everywhere in the world. There are many of them in our society that we need to root them out. Exactly. So these people like this, you need to put them away from your children. Parents, you need to arm yourself before you become a mother. If you were abused, let's say for example you were abused, you know that you feel guilt in yourself, you know the shame that you felt. Make sure you try not to allow that to replicate or that cycle to continue with your own children. Teach them on time, teach them the right values. You can mend your own life as an adult, and from there begin to make sure that your children don't become victims as well. I'm going to end the show now at this point in time, and I will produce more material on this particular grooming, and I will put it on my website fontibon.com or on divasofcolor.com. You'll be able to read more on grooming. And this is very, very important. We need to begin to protect our children, especially our girl children, because girls are easily destroyed. It's very easy to destroy a life of a girl. So please, people like Patrick Echi, who continues to tell me that a 36-year-old man will be calling a 6-year-old girl his wife is not a problem. People should please pay close attention to him. Thank you so much to everyone who joined us and who has, Victor, Prince Hanacho, Chinyere Okechukwu, and everybody who have commented, and Nenna Okezie, all the people who have contributed and said and written comments and all that. Please, thank you so much, and continue to spread this news. As like I said earlier, it's not about Regina Daniel in particular, but I'm trying to use her as a case study for us to raise awareness on this issue. So any little place you work, let us continue to empower, practically empowering ourselves, mothers especially, our young girls especially, so that we know when something not quite right is happening around us, so that we can pull ourselves out as quickly as possible. Thank you so much, and that is all of it from me today. I've been so serious because I'm so passionate about this topic. Hopefully in the next 2-3 days I'll come back with my usual ladies let's talk business. It's important, if we are in business, it's not always all about money. Let us make sure our families are well grounded with knowledge and everything. Let us not remove our eyes from our girls, our young children, because of business. Thank you so much. Bye.